it's terrifying as an intro new traveler. And I remember feeling so scared.
And things that feel like that might, like, the world would end if it happened to you, that will happen to you, and the world won't end.
Yeah, you'll get there, the contract will get canceled by the hospital or something awful like that. And it does. It happens.
Thank you for joining me for another episode of On the Clock and Off the Record. Each episode is brought to you by Atlas MedStaff, unapologetically human.
Hi guys, my name is John. This is my lovely wife, Kristin, and together we are No Ordinary Path. Now, that means we're a travel nurse family that has been all around the country for, I don't know, gosh, we were in the RV for like, what, 7, 8 years? 7 years. It feels, sometimes it feels like
6,
longer.
7.
6. Oh my God. No. But at this point in time, I have kind of wrapped up the travel gig, but Kristin is carrying on the torch by being a travel nurse recruiter for Atlas because we just love the company so much that we kind of wanted to stick with it. So that's us, and we're joined by this amazing gentleman. You want to introduce yourself?
You guys absolutely know who I am, but that is exactly what I was looking for, John. Thank you so much. Like I told them off camera before I started this, normally I write the intro, and I couldn't get it right this time. And I wanted them to introduce themselves because their journey through travel healthcare staffing has been unlike one that I've ever seen before. There have been families that have traveled before, right? And then stopped, or then started again, or whatever. But yours is so unique because you documented the entire thing. And I was following your brand. I was following your journey even before I knew John was before you were a traveler with us, before I knew Kristin could ever be a recruiter, right? I mean, and your kids were like this tall. Like they were.
Yeah, Chloe was 3. Yeah, they were little.
Yeah.
Now they're not little.
No. So it has been a really, really fun ride. It's been fun to watch you guys over the years. And I'm very excited you said yes to doing the podcast with me today. Here we go. On the clock. You built No Ordinary Path from the traveler side of the desk. How has that perspective changed now that you're recruiting?
Well, there's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes that we had no idea as travelers, specifically like things you can and can't negotiate, or things that on the recruiter side that we don't really have control over. We sort of understood bill rates, but until you get on the recruiter side and really see like where all the money goes, like that's really eye-opening. And the agencies and the recruiters are, especially myself and my agency, we're not like ripping people off. We're not making millions of dollars on this side. It does actually cost a lot of money. And that was probably one of the biggest like surprises, because you feel like as a traveler, everyone on the internet is telling you how much you're getting ripped off all the time.
Yes, that's
right.
And
that's just not how it works.
It was really, I enjoyed being the travel nurse. I enjoyed, kind of seeing behind the veil, like what it was really like. What were some of the struggles that the agency has to deal with, which was like far more than I thought, like learning and having to navigate vendors and all of these other things. There was just a lot more that went into it besides just, well, here's what I bring to the table. Why can't you get me a job?
Yeah. And also, as a recruiter, like we don't just sit back and twiddle our thumbs.
Right.
Some people think that we just sit back and collect paychecks, and there's so much more involved in that. So it was very eye-opening.
And I've been trying for years to pull that curtain back, but John, you're right. Like there is so much that goes in on both sides. Like no matter how many travelers I talk to, there's still things that maybe I don't know after 21 years, right? I still don't maybe fully understand about what a traveler does on a contract or what it takes to get there. I'm still baffled by the compliance process and how just ridiculously hard it is sometimes for no good reason. And little things like that. So that insight is exactly what I was looking for there. All right. You've taken assignments through market swings, agency shifts, rate chaos. What does a stable experience look like from where you both sit right now?
For me, it is getting what you need. Every person has their own individual need that they have to get out of a contract or out of an assignment, and keeping that at the forefront of your mind and your why, that's what keeps you constant. The rates are going to go up and down, but if you know the number that you need in order to make it all work for you, that's the most important thing. And then like whatever your why are. Ours was always that we wanted to travel. We really traveled based on where we wanted to visit. And so we just made sure that the pay packages could support what we were wanting to do and support our family and our needs. And really that, beyond that, like, yes, you always want to make more money, but the market fluctuates up and down. And so you just have to keep that in the forefront of your mind.
Yeah. For me, I guess I would say that it was the stability of knowing that, like, while the market changes, like, the agency and the person that I trusted the most didn't change, having traveled with Atlas for as long as I did. And I know people are probably going to listen to this and be like, yeah, he's just saying that because his wife's a recruiter, la, la, la. But really, like, I found that in Natasha, initially working with her in Atlas, and then later, of course, with Kristin. And it's just, it to me, it was more important knowing that, like, I didn't have to go through all the onboarding and all the compliance with somebody else to try to, like, shop for the different contracted rates. Yeah, I might make some more money over here by, flip-flopping back and forth. It was just easier for me. And like the question says, it was stabler. I didn't have to worry about it. I just knew, okay, they've already got all of my stuff, my compliance. I know how Atlas works. I know what's expected of me, all those things that made it easier, for us as a family.
And I didn't come into the picture as a recruiter until like 5 years.
Oh yeah. Until like the very end
travel.
of us traveling around. But yeah.
Right. So travelers trust you too, because you documented that journey along the way. You had that trust. Even before, Kristin, you became a recruiter, John, when you were still traveling. What do you think you did to earn that trust in the industry? And what should we all learn from that?
We have always, from the very beginning, strived to be transparent, like good, bad, ugly.
Yeah, you got it all.
We shared everything. We shared things that were really hard, and then the things that were really awesome. We had some really amazing highs, and we had some awful lows, and we shared them. So I feel like, and I carry that into being a recruiter too. I'm very transparent with my travelers, and I think that's why people trust us.
I think, John, the one I remember the most is the all the incidences with the truck, like
the cluster truck saga.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
3 trucks in like 2 months.
You can go back.
It was pretty wild.
You're right. Like there was like a subset of videos where it was just like the saga of trucks to pull your RV, and I was following along just like everybody else was.
Yeah, and it would break, and then you'd get a different one, and then it would break also. And in the moment, it's so horrible and stressful, and so like there's so much like anxiety and all that kind of stuff. But like, what was funny, we always just say like, yeah, but it means more views. People love the drama. So
we would always just laugh it off and be like, hey, it's content.
I mean, you look back on it now too, and watch some of those old videos, and it's like, oh, that was kind of entertaining to look back on it now and realize that in the moment, while it feels so extreme, later it's like, oh, we got through it.
Yeah.
It all learning experience, right? And you're right. It was content. It was likes. It was it was people watching. It was eyeballs watching your content. So it was all kind of worth it.
Honestly, for people that don't have content channels or whatever out there, like, it still is really good stories. Like, it stinks in the moment, but man, you have stories for a lifetime.
Oh yeah,
right. All right, Kristin, this one's more for you. You meet travelers that feel burned out even before their first assignment. How do you help them reset?
That's a very good question. I love travel nursing for the fact that you can take time off in between your assignments. And I also always encourage people to like get outside and, step away from work for a minute, even like touch grass, but like go outside and get some sunshine. That's like my biggest self-care. But also, like, on assignment, it really helps to have a recruiter who is attentive to that. My travelers know they can call and vent anytime, like,
some of them do.
Yes, some of them do.
Anytime.
I love that. Fine. I mean, sometimes I can do something about it. Other times I can't. It's just the way it is. Yep. But taking time to reset and take time off when you need it is huge. And travel nursing allows you to kind of put some money back and take that extra time off in between assignments if you need to. Mm-hmm. And that, especially the holiday season, I have lots of travelers who will take the whole month of December off and take a reset.
I've heard this, and from the very beginning, I heard this, and I thought at first, this is just cliche. It's just, and maybe it's insulting or whatever. And I've learned that it's not. That you can do anything for 3 months, right? You can 13 weeks. You can do anything for 3 months, and then you get to change your perspective. You can do whatever you want at that point. You want to stay. You want to go someplace else. You can, but it's this much time, and at that point, then you control your own destiny. So. I think
and it really does fly by. That 13 weeks flies by, and it might really suck in the moment if you get stuck in a bad unit or a bad manager or something, but it does fly by, and then you're right, you get to move on or take a break.
Yep. All right. Last question in on the clock. Agencies talk about support all the time. What does support really mean to you?
It is being there for the traveler for the duration of the entire process. So I see a lot of recruiters that are like really heavy after getting, their travelers in the beginning, and then they like hand them off to someone else, or they don't, once you get them to the start line to the day that they start working, then they kind of are like done.
There's whole agencies that are like that.
Yeah.
I mean, like that's how some of these places operate, where it's like kind of more hands off, and we can get you more money because it's hands. Well, that's great until you run into a problem.
Yeah.
And then there's nobody to help you figure out, somehow somebody screwed up something with the payroll from coming from the hospital, which is another one of those things that was behind the veil. I didn't really know about all the different, like how time cards and all this kind of stuff has to go through multiple different iterations before it gets back to the traveler, before the money gets paid out. And I can't imagine, because I know that is definitely one thing that you're dealing with frequently, is the different kind of like working sometimes with the hospital, with vendors, all this kind of stuff. So support from a really good recruiter, I think, is golden.
So one thing that I tell my travelers, and this is kind of a weird analogy, but I think of myself as like, in the realtor world, you have a realtor who like walks you through the whole home buying process. And once you sign that initial contract on the house, and then you have to go through all of this paperwork with the lender before you actually get to your closing date. Mm-hmm. I'm sort of like the realtor in this instance, but I'm with you 100% of the time. And I'm also working with compliance in the background to make sure that you get to that closing date, to your start date. Yep. But then after you get there, then I'm with you the whole time. If you ever have any other problems with compliance, if you have problems with, like your time cards, or you just have a person on your unit you cannot stand, or you're being unfairly treated, or any issue, like who to call. Yep. I remember when you were on an assignment with another agency, I won't name names, but they had different recruiters for different areas of the country.
That was early on. That was like the first or second.
Yeah. And then you had, if you ever had a question, you had no idea who to ask.
Yep.
Like, who do you even talk to?
Right.
So with me, I'm also checking in on my travelers. I have I'm a very, organized person, and I have like check-ins that I like schedule as soon as I get a traveler. I go in and I make notes. Okay, check in on this date, check in on this date, make sure they're okay. And I'm constantly like, I'm not going to bug you if you don't want to be bugged, but I am going to make sure that, I'm checking in with you, because sometimes you might be too nervous, especially if it's your first assignment, to ask me if something is normal. So I'm going to be constantly like keeping up. And then halfway through, I'm going to ask you like, what do you want to do next? Where do you want to go next? And so I feel like that is the kind of support that I love to offer. I love that about Atlas. I feel like all of our recruiters offer this kind of experience versus other agencies that are more like get you to the closing date and then forget about it.
I feel like I could probably write a book on that transactional support versus like a relational support type of that sort of difference. And I don't ever want to be a part of an organization that's transactional support. Like that does not appeal to me whatsoever.
Right. That's perfect. I love that. I never actually thought of that terminology. That's perfect.
Off the record, these are going to be more fun.
Yay.
Now we can relax.
All right. You filmed your lives for years. Was there ever a moment where you're like, we got to turn the camera off?
Yes. there were, I mean, with
I have no
kids,
idea what she's going to say, so I'm curious to see how she answers this.
Well, first of all, like with the kids, there were times when our kids were like, like, I don't want to be on the camera or whatever, and like, so we had to be really careful about that too. And like, I never wanted to like anyone to feel like we were trying to like gain off of our kids or something. And so like, that was always an aspect of it. But like, as far as, there were times when like, I mean, I know you can never imagine us arguing, but like arguing.
I'm never wrong, Rich. I don't know what she's talking about.
Parking the RV, or like, oh my gosh, we had so many issues with like emptying the tank and just just things that would go wrong on the RV like over and over and over and over again, and then like to try to have the camera there at the same time. Yeah. No thanks.
I think too, like if I were to answer, I would say it would be towards the end of the traveling and trying to decide when it was time to, and don't get us wrong, like we would have continued. Absolutely. If it was just Kristin and I think we would have continued filming and all the things, but we chose to halt because our kids were coming to the age where they wanted to have like more of a traditional high school experience.
Sure.
And we wanted to give them that. They had they've been to every state. Mm-hmm. And have seen more of the country than most families have, and some people even in their lifetime. And so they had an amazing, childhood, kind of that adolescent, elementary age. But they also wanted to experience some more of this. And so even though it was kind of a bittersweet thing because we knew we still kept this connection with Kristin here, and so it's still fun because she also can speak to it really well to the travelers. Yeah. And it was kind of like turning the camera off for that part, and those discussions with the kids, was tough, but that was when we kind of knew it was time to make a change.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kids aside, I think that would be a really fun case study, like how the two of you came to that decision, right? You were very adamant this was how you were going to live, and now you've decided, no, this is how we're going to live after that much time. That'd have been really fun to see.
Yeah.
We'll probably start back up again.
There we go. I would love it. Season 12 or whatever you're at.
Years from now, maybe.
Right, yeah.
All right, so every traveler has that one assignment that left a mark. What was it for you?
We were traveling all through COVID, right? Yeah. I had done a contract here in Phoenix when it was finally starting to get bad. What was that, 2021? Was it 2021?
No, it was 2020.
Yes, 2020. Mm-hmm. It was starting to get bad. We wanted to do something big, get away. And so we were like, let's go to Alaska this time around. And we were like, and we'll just take the trailer too. So not only did we choose to, drive from Phoenix, Arizona to Alaska, we decided to do it during COVID when the borders were closed. So it was pretty amazing. For me, traveling was always like my why. Was never about the money. It was even during the COVID, that was nice, but it was not about that. It was always about seeing the country. It was always about the nature and getting out and seeing the amazing places, that are on the earth and here. And it was, that experience was so surreal because driving through the Alcan highway with the borders being closed, there were no other vehicles. We had 4 days to get through Canada, and then we had to get through Alaska, which is, really, really big.
4 days because that's all the Canadian government would allow for one border to the other border.
Right.
Really?
Yeah.
So we saw so much wildlife because there was no traffic. Grizzly bears are sitting on the side of the road as we drive by, like eating things. It was just like wild, truly wild. And
we had a bear count going, and we saw a wolf. Did I say that right?
A wolf.
Wolf.
Not a wolf.
I always say it wrong. And we started tallying. It was just amazing. And being in Alaska was just like bucket list. It felt like we were doing a bucket list item every week. And
it was the adventure of a lifetime. I really think it for us. We took the rig all the way up to the Arctic Circle.
Yeah.
So it's pretty neat. That was the adventure.
I really felt like Mrs. Frizzle. Honestly, everyone, it was just like, seatbelts, kids, let's go to the Arctic Circle today. It was cool.
I remember as you were doing that and thinking, I don't understand how this is even possible, but you did it. And it was amazing.
We had to wait at the border because of all the regulations. We waited in Montana for 20 days. John had applied for his Alaska license. Everything was taking forever because of COVID. Right. And it was 22 days that we waited at the border in Montana doing nothing basically. And then we got the go, and it was because you had to have the work order, you had to have the license, you had to have all this paperwork for Canada, and we weren't allowed to stop anywhere. You weren't allowed to go in any stores. Like, they were very strict. We had 96 hours to make it through. So we didn't really get to visit Canada, but it was so exciting. Every day was just like, and then
every day was like 14 to 16 hours of driving. Yeah, is what every day was.
We got into Alaska, into Tok, I think it was, and we stayed at this park. We were the only ones there, and they had kayaks that you could just take out on the water for free, and we were just mind boggled. And so I just remember on that lake with the huge Alaskan range in the background, all snow-capped, and we were just on kayaks all by ourselves. And I was like, I can't believe we're here. Is this real? Like,
it didn't seem real.
This is so amazing. So, yeah.
What's the story from your early travel life that new recruiters will never believe, outside of the Alaska one, obviously, that you lived through?
We'll figure it out.
I know.
We'll figure it out.
This is hard. This is so hard to convey, because I tell my travelers this all the time. Like, a really good trait as a travel nurse is to be able to figure things out on the fly. And people sometimes don't believe that they will be able to do that. You know, our very first assignment was in Baltimore, and we didn't have housing, and we almost backed out. We were so close. It wasn't with Atlas, but we almost backed out, and they were like desperate for us not to back out. Which now I understand why. And they found us housing, and we eventually went. But later on, as we kept going, like, we had an assignment in Massachusetts. We had no idea where we were going to stay. And I don't really suggest this for people, but we got to the point where we were so good at figuring it out that we knew we could go anywhere and figure it out.
We'd start heading, across the country and to the next assignment with, and on the way, we'll start making calls and see where we can, find an RV park, and, or where we can park on, like state trust or federal land and do some boondocking or something like that, like off grid for a little while until we can find something. And we did. And I will say we've talked to other experienced travelers too who did not do the RV thing, but took the more traditional type housing. And they, once you've been doing it for a few, it's the same thing. You just sort of realize that, like, it's terrifying as an intro new traveler. And I remember feeling so scared. But you do. Once you've done it, a few times, then you're like, it's all the same. I mean, like, you'll figure it out. It's not too bad.
And things that feel like that might, like, the world would end if it happened to you, that will happen to you, and the world won't end.
Yeah, you'll get there. The contract will get canceled by the hospital or something awful like that. And it does. It happens. And then you just tuck and roll, you'll figure it out, and you contact your recruiter and you start working on the next one. And
I think if there's a trait, nursing and allied, the same, right? If there's a trait that you all have, is the hospital is a place for the unexpected, right? You're gonna get 1,000 things thrown at you every single day, and you figure it out. What you're saying here is it's not that much different, right?
Yeah.
You've crossed the country with your kids, your home, and all the deadlines. What moment made you look at each other and say, we are out of our minds?
Okay, so I talked about Alaska earlier.
Yep.
When it was so surreal driving through, we're talking like it's upwards of 600-700 miles of, I know, right? My kids have got brain rot. It's affected me as well. So we're talking about, like, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miles without ever seeing another car pass us. And, through the, British Columbia, through the Yukon, and then once you get into Alaska, I mean, there's not like gas stations, there's not like service stations around, and if, something broke down or something happened, like it did on the way back home from Alaska. I know, I was just going to say, like it did. then you could be in some serious, like, oh boy, we're really going to have to figure this one out. Yeah. And it did. When we We were actually finished the Alaskan contract, and I remember, we were based out of Anchorage, Alaska, is where the contract was, and there's these mountain ranges all around, and the locals would tell you that once the snow kind of hits midway, coming down the mountain, the snow caps,
you can see it come down as it gets
cooler. So like towards September, that's where like you have to get out to go back down through the Alcan, because you have to go north to go back down south again.
Or you're going to get stuck.
And so we left like the day of the snow being halfway down the mountains. And sure enough, by the time we got to like where the border crossing was, we got to Tok, and it just started snowing like crazy.
Like blizzard.
And we were like, do we stay? Do we go? What are we going to do? And we decided to go. And so we're driving like 20 miles an hour. The snow's just coming down. There's still like every once in a great while at that point in time that, the border had opened back up. So you'd maybe see a semi, like maybe.
And we did catch somebody else in Tok, like followed us, and we like walking with total strangers. We're like, yeah, we'll go together.
Yep, which is what we did.
Nice.
But at some point in time, was it a leaf spring? We had one of our leaf spring brackets broke, and so the trailer went whoop, and it rode on the leaf spring rode on the frame, and I'm looking at it and we're like, there's nothing else. I don't know what to do here. It looks like it's going to be fine. The trailer's all crooked. It's not really pulling one way or another, fortunately. But there's really nothing else, and I don't have anything strong enough to like hold, because it wasn't the springs themselves; it was the bracket that held them all together. So like, well, Whitehorse is the next town that has anything available to it, and it's still snowing, so we probably should just go. Yeah, we drove. I think it was like 380 miles with broken leaf spring.
We were so lucky. That was really dumb.
But I mean, what else are you going to do? That was definitely the moment. We're out of our minds. But it's a story now. And it made great content. And yep, and we're good. We're fine. We were safe the whole time. It just felt like ooh in the moment.
I can only imagine looking back at that trailer and thinking, "Oh, come on, just hold it together." Just right.
Yep.
I'm following in the Jeep the whole time, like every frost heave. I'm like, oh.
All right, last question off the record. When you scroll back through the old footage, what reminds you why you still chose that life?
Oh,
can you say it without crying?
Yeah. My kids are so close to being out, like my teenager boys, especially. They are like 1 foot out the door at this point. But our family, I feel like we have such a tight-knit family, and I love watching our footage and just that time that we spent together, all the shared memories, and we had the sign in our rig that said our nest, and that's what it really felt like. It just felt like we lived in our little nest, and through the best years of childhood, in my opinion, like the elementary age where everything is awesome. And, they remember it. Like Chloe, there's a lot of things Chloe doesn't remember. She was 3 when we left, but my boys, they remember those experiences. And so when I will look back at the videos, I can barely hold myself together. And I'm so glad that we did that as a family. And that is why I am like so passionate about helping families now. And I get to vicariously live through them. I have several families on my desk right now, and it is the most precious thing to watch them have those same kinds of experiences. I sent like a s'more kit to one of my travelers, and it was like personalized with their kids' names and stuff, and just like seeing the joy of their kids like open up that box. And I remember my kids opening things like that from Tasha too, and then just like knowing like they're out camping in Montana and they sent me a campfire video, like
using the kit and things.
I just really that was our why, was like experiencing travel the country like with our kids and our family. Mm-hmm. So
just watching them run around and say silly little things, and just the smiles, and like she said, just like everything is big eyes and wow, whoa, cool, and rock climbing in Yosemite, and seeing like the most northern points and stuff like that.
Bike riding across the Golden Gate Bridge. Like just really cool things that we got to do and experience together.
And I have hours upon hours of like, footage to embarrass them by when they get married and stuff, because a few of them have brought their girlfriends over now and have watched some of our old videos.
Oh yeah, we'll sit in the living room and turn on some old videos.
It's kind of fun, but it's just, I think we started it because this was always a dream of mine to see everything anyway, but it was really became much more about showing it to my children than anything else. And I will never regret that. Yeah.
That is a perfect way to end off the record. That was awesome. All right. Rapid fire. And I expect an answer from each of you on this. Okay.
Okay.
In honor of Stephen Colbert, what sandwich is best?
Sourdough grilled cheese.
Oh, that is a good one. I'd go with a Schlotsky's original.
Oh, all right. There's one left in Omaha. I might have to go.
No, it's good times. Yeah.
I'm kind of addicted to the Starbucks grilled cheese right now, which I'm embarrassed to say because they're like $7. They're stupid expensive, but I love sourdough grilled cheese.
But if they're good, who cares? If they're good, treat yourself. My guilty pleasure right now is
crime documentaries. That's the first thing that came to my mind.
I am watching this guy on YouTube who's got a YouTube channel who is building a off-grid cabin in Ontario, and like from scratch. And it's really interesting to watch the process of him like literally build this like homestead off-grid cabin from nothing. So it's kind of neat. It's also neat too watching YouTube people because I know what goes into that work.
Yeah.
So watching content creators on the tube, it's like, oh man, when does he have time to edit all this stuff and all these camera angles, and he has to set up a camera and pretend like he's walking away from it, and then he's got to turn around later, go back and get it again, like all those fun things. That's my current guilty pleasure.
The most used app on your phone right now is?
Mine's my calendar. Keeping track of the kids' schedules, of her schedule, of my schedule, all of Chloe's like various like 20,000 dance classes.
Yeah.
Like all that's probably it's probably
mine is not. It's not an app, but I am addicted to. Well, I
TikTok.
guess TikTok. Yeah, TikTok would be probably up there. I was gonna say I'm really into auction shopping right now, which is a terrible habit. And so there's an auction here called Nellis, and it's not actually an app; it's online. But I'm always looking because like. I don't know. There's always
all the Christmas presents for all of my
deals.
family out there is coming from the auction site.
Yeah.
You never know what you're going to find. I'm right there with you, though.
No, it is really random stuff, but it's great.
Love it. All right. Last question. The staffing industry would be better if.
Oh man, gosh, that
Can
one's
I say
a hard
if
one.
I wasn't around? Let's see. The staffing agency would be better if
Industry, like right? Staffing industry.
Or how we're better, or how we could be better. I don't. Yeah, no. I
mean, I think transparency. Like, I think we do a good job at being transparent, but I definitely understand why travelers like have a hard time trusting because there are so many people that bait and click, clickbait or whatever. So, like, I think more transparency overall.
Every travel nurse had to spend 6 months being a travel nurse recruiter. I think they would know and understand so much more. Like you said, trying to pull that veil back is not easy to do, but it is wildly different.
Maybe I should do some like day in the life.
Yeah, maybe
type of stuff
of knowing really the kind of work that goes into what it means to be a really good recruiter, and what it means to work for an agency that really like puts the traveler first.
Yeah, it makes me so sad when I see comments on Facebook, and I try to stay off of there, but like of people that just are bashing like agencies and recruiters, they all suck. Blah, blah. That makes me so sad. And
They're stealing all your money.
It's mostly, I really think it's mostly because there's so much misinformation and dishonesty out there. So if we were all more transparent and on both sides, I think that would be helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we've come to the end. Thank you so much, John and Kristin. I really appreciate it. That was a lot of fun. Tell me where we can find all the old videos. Where is No Ordinary Path, and when it might be coming back?
Yeah. Okay. So I would say that like the hub of everything, you'll want to go to noordinarypath.com/links, and that will get you all things No Ordinary Path, because we have a robust website to help travelers with lots of resources like housing and reviews and all that kind of stuff. And then of course, our YouTube channel is No Ordinary Path on YouTube. We're on TikTok. And as far as content, long form content, I think we're going to be holding off on that for a while.
We'll probably take a break from that for quite some time.
Yeah.
The short form, though, is really transitioned more into like, everything that learning more about travel nursing from the recruiter's perspective.
Yeah.
And that kind of stuff.
TikTok and YouTube, both, you can find short videos with lots of information, playlists, and all that kind of stuff. So I think people, at least right now, are more interested in the smaller chunks of information than some of our longer stuff.
Yeah. But we're still around if anyone has questions or wants to talk to. Yeah.
There you go. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys being on with me today.
Yeah, it was our pleasure.
Thank you for having us.
All right. Join us for our next episode where we talk to another industry insider about the staffing world.